Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing today in this afternoon? My name is Carolina Ribeiro. I am speaking from Las Vegas. It's a very, very, very beautiful day here. And I want to thank you all to be here and join us today in this live webinar. I am part of the Las Vegas Christian Spiritual Center here in Las Vegas. Our group has been here for about 3 years. And together, we are with some friends from different spiritual centers all across the United States. And we're going to share some thoughts about suicidal prevention. So it's an honor for us. And first of all, I would like to thank you, Vanessa Ansalone from the Kardec Radio, to give us the chance and the opportunity to share the space here with her audience so we can also share the message about suicide prevention. So I want to invite you all now to relax a little bit and enjoy this moment with us. We will have 2 lectures today, and at the end, we're going to have around 15 to 20 minutes to also answer your questions. So feel free to share any comments or anything that you like to ask. If we can help, we will answer. So below, you can have the space on the comments. You can type it, your doubts. We have our team also working together to reply all your answers, okay? At the beginning, I also want to tell you that we're going to listen to very, very nice songs. The songs are important because we're going to bring the atmosphere that's going to also calm our hearts and minds. And then we will feel the energy from our spiritual friends, our best friend Jesus. And then after the songs, I will invite our friend Ana Paula, and she's going to start doing our initial prayer, okay? And since we're doing this live webinar, we are using technology. And sometimes technology can be a little tricky. And I want to also to kindly ask for you guys to be a little patient. It's our first time also doing this. We have friends all over the United States connected here together to put this wonderful webinar. Also friends from Brazil. So imagine, internet is an amazing tool, but sometimes it can be, a little tricky. So that's why we have to be a little patient with that too. So remember, if you have any questions, please share your thoughts with us. We have our team also on YouTube and on the Facebook page ready to answer everything that you might want to ask us, okay? We're going to have 2 lectures. The first one will be about suicide prevention. And the second one, we're going to talk a little bit about promoting mental health. Those very important topics regarding suicide prevention. So if you have any friends that you might want to share this live webinar, please also feel free to do that. So on Facebook, you are allowed to share the live and invite as many friends as you want. We're going to be very happy to connect with you in this afternoon. So now I'm going to invite you all to sing and embrace the songs, relax, enjoy, and we will start soon after the music with our initial prayer. So let's sing together, my friends. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
Hello, guys. My name is Edson.
Hi, I'm Gabriela.
I'm Marcia.
I'm Pedro.
We're very happy to join you. So we're gonna sing a few songs for you. We hope you like it, and we're very happy to join you. and to those right next to us. No rush, no hurry, let's hear without tension. Understand the reasons why of so much pain. We can be happy with our lives or someone else's suffering. Let's say yes to love, stop suicide. Depression is a serious matter that needs love and attention. Let's say yes to love, stop suicide. Depression is a serious matter that needs love and attention. We have to stop and listen to those right next to us. No rush, no hurry, let's hear with attention. Understand the reasons why of so much pain. We can be happy with our lives or someone else's suffering. Let's say yes to love, stop suicide. Depression is a serious matter that needs love and attention. Let's say yes to love, stop suicide. Depression is a serious matter that needs love and attention.
What's the better way to go? There are just so many roads. Rain desires and waves that flow, try to make me stray, I know. a firm and solid ground. Is it that one day I'll find when most places are around? There's a thread that doesn't show. Now the only way out just seems to be to change my outlook on this life, not to simply keep inside all the suffering around me. Gonna reaching deep inside. There's a way out for each one. Look for Christ in me, no time. A way out, I'm sure to find. Always see ahead I go, try to improve my ways. It may not was to change, and much better now I know. Life is moving on, I say. There are no more storms inside. If our things are good and right, in the Lord I'll keep my faith. Now the only way out just seems to be to change my outlook on this life, not to simply keep inside all the suffering around me. Gonna reaching deep inside. There's a way out for each one. Look for Christ and in no time. A way out I'm sure to find. Now the only way out just seems to be to change my outlook on this life, not to simply keep inside all the suffering around me. Gonna reach it deep inside. There's a way out for each one. Look for Christ in no time. A way out I'm sure to find. A way out I'm sure to find. A way out I'm sure to find. Sure to find. A way out I'm sure to find.
Hi, everyone. Hello. So my name is Ana Cardia. I am from the Light of the Soul Christian Spiritist Center in North Carolina, here in Apex, in the United States. And I invite everybody now to do an initial prayer so we can begin our event. Let's all close our eyes in this moment. Taking a deep breath, relaxing in the chair, wherever you are in this moment. Feeling the presence of our mentors, our guardian angels, all the team of good spirits that are working with us today, that are involving this beautiful team of workers, of volunteers, everyone that is participating from this webinar today. Thank you, dear God. We thank you, Jesus, for this opportunity that you bring to us, for this wonderful technology that allows us to be together, to share good messages, to share Jesus' teachings with all the world, with everyone that is in need, and everyone that is here with an open hearts to learn, to grow together. May we all open our hearts, may this message reach the hearts of each and everyone that is watching, to reach the hearts of all the spirits that are watching with us, that are studying, that are learning with us today. May we be here with joy in our hearts to be participating in such a wonderful event of light. We ask that the good spirits protect, involve, and surround us all in this moment, throughout this afternoon. May Jesus stay with us, embracing and involving each one of us during this webinar. So it is. So now we're going to start our activities, and I'm going to invite Miss Ana Oliveira to do the first presentation of the day. Ana Oliveira, she is from the Christian Spiritist Center of Alabama, and she's going to be talking about suicide prevention.
Hello, everyone. So it's so nice to be here. It's a pleasure to be here with you guys. So if you listen to Cardiac Radio, I'm Anna from Alabama. Nice that my name rhymes, right? So thank you so much for your presence here. Thank you for joining us in this afternoon. Thank you, Cardiac Radio, for it's being always for us and disseminating the Spiritist message in English. So it's a pleasure to be here. Like I was introduced, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit about suicide prevention. So stay tuned after my talk because there's more programming for you. We have our friend, Dr. Scalia, who's going to talk about mental health and how to promote it. And we have Christian Joy with a lot of our friends singing, during this program too. So, do you know anyone who died of suicide? Well, unfortunately, I do. They are part of my family. Also, I had some friends that in my academic life, classmates who actually died of suicide. So, if we ask the question, is suicide common? The answer, unfortunately, it is that is very common. Um, these are numbers from the WHO, and it talks about suicide being the second leading cause of death among young people, right? 15 to 29 years old. The statistics are that close to 800,000 people die of suicide every year, what equates to more or less one death every 40 seconds, right? What it amounts to a big problem that we have, right? Here in Alabama, some statistics are that suicides numbers are double than homicides. So if we think that we don't know anyone affected by suicide, we might not be paying a close attention, right? So, in this topic, sometimes, and that's why we're here today to talk about it, the only way to educate ourselves and to help, decrease those numbers is really to talk about, to educate ourselves about it, and to reach out to people, right? So sometimes people say that people who die of suicide, they do not care about other people, but that is truly false, right? Um, we just saw this news, right, from April about this beautiful and talented doctor who was caring for COVID 19 patients in an ER in Manhattan, New York, and she died of suicide. Um, Sometimes we think only old people die of suicide. That is also false, right? Old and young die, and we saw the statistics from the WHO that younger people are very affected Unfortunately, even children. These pictures there that you were seeing from an event that is called Sand Silence Packing, and it's an event by Active Minds, and this was at the university I work at. And if you look at each one of those dots on that green grass, it's a backpack representing one college student who died of suicide. So some of these backpacks are the real backpacks that the family sent to the event. They have information, their names, what they are measuring in, how old they were, and is one of the most eye-opening events that I've been to the problem, to how big the problem of suicide it is in our societies. Another thing that people say sometimes that only unsuccessful people die of suicide, right? And that is false. People say, well, if you have a good job, if you have a good life, then you're not gonna die of suicide. And we all also recently heard of the passing of Anthony Bourdain, right? Someone who has written so many books, right? Who had TV programs, right? Who got awards from his professional work. If you look at him, he looks beautiful, right? Handsome. Like he's living the time of his life, right? Traveling, meeting other people, tasting new foods and things like that. But he still um, was in a deeper pain that he thought that that was the answer. So another thing that sometimes we hear is that people sometimes say that people who say that they want to hurt themselves, they are only looking for attention, and that is false, right? So that is why it's important for us to know the signs of when somebody is struggling, when somebody is in pain at the risk of suicide, so that we can help them right at that moment. And if people share with us that phrases like, I can't go on, this is just too much, um, my life sucks right now, all of those things, we should listen, we should empathize with that feeling, and we should try to connect with that person and try to see how we can help, right? So the signs are different, and there are many, and they differ from person to person, right? So if you're thinking about a family member or a friend, think first how they usually behave. And then you can look for some signs. For example, isolation. The person is just isolating themselves, and that's not the normal. Lack of interest. They used to like X, Y, and Z, and now they seem like they don't like them anymore. One big sign is hopelessness. The person does not have any outlook in life anymore. When they talk about things, maybe people, things, activities, there's no that hope or that um, you know, excitement anymore about doing something in the future. There's, that outlook in life, things that they that usually we look forward to, like in our careers, right? To build a family or to travel or, even take care of our pet or get a pet. All of this is kind of lost in there. So it's more like really a different behavior. The person is behaving differently from what they usually do. And unfortunately, if mixed with this isolation, lack of interest, hopelessness, there is alcohol and drugs involved, then that makes the situation even more complex. So, what if somebody tells you that they are considering suicide? Then, my advice is to talk to them. And you're probably thinking, oh no, I'll be putting ideas in people's head if I start asking them, are you thinking about suicide? But the research shows that no, right? You are providing actually an outlet for that person. they might be so overburdened and they might have already been giving other people some signs, but nobody really has, you know, recognized those signs and had a chance to have a very genuine, calm, and compassion conversation with them about how they're feeling, right? So, how does this talk go? So, again, remain calm. That is very, very important, right? Breathe in and out if you need to. Um, uh, you know, try to be as honest and as genuine as possible. At that point, think of yourself just as a human being talking to another human being, you know, and then that should help with the conversation flow in the way that it should, right? And in the way that is going to help that person. So try not to judge or condemn. Don't try to say, "Wow, is that why you were trying to, kill yourself?" Or, have you thought about, all the sorrow you're gonna bring to other people? Try not to minimize their pain, right? Just saying, you know, "Oh, I had this problem before and I was fine. I was able to overcome it." Right? Don't give your opinion. It's not about you, it's about them. It's the time for them to speak up, to talk it out how they're feeling and process that situation too with another caring human being. So don't really tell them what to do. Of course, you can ask them, have you thought about, seeking counseling? Have you thought about, if it's a problem, a relationship problem, how do you feel about talking to this person and trying to solve this problem, right? If it's something at work, have you thought about this and that? That is okay, but don't tell people exactly what to do. Do not preach or teach them, right? Don't just say like, "I'll just pray it out." And you might be surprised because this is a spiritist talk, so we are Christian and we do believe in God, but just telling people just pray because it's going to go away. We do believe in the power of prayer, but just praying, it might be that that person tried themselves already to pray, but because they have a chemical imbalance, maybe they need a medication for that depression, they just are not feeling them like themselves, right? So I'm not saying that you're going to tell people not to pray or that people who don't pray you're going to tell them to. So remember, it's about that person. Ask them what are the things that are important to them that they have tried, and then if praying is important for you like it is for me, then we can pray for them. But don't find just one quick solution, because that is a complex problem, right? For that person, it's a complex feeling, right? And do not use empty words of encouragement, just saying, "Oh, it's gonna pass," or "You're gonna be okay," right? These are really not gonna help the person at that time. You can say, "I hear your pain. I can kind of see how you're feeling. Oh, that must be very hard." But, don't try to make promises that you can't keep, or even plans that go too much far in the future, right? Try to do things that's going to help that person during that time, right? For tonight, for tomorrow morning. So we can say, "Tonight you sound very overwhelmed. What can you do so that you're gonna feel better? What are the things that you do that relax you?" It might be swimming, you're doing some exercise, physical exercise. It might be reading, you're listening to some kind of music. It might be dancing. What are the things that we can do so that you can relax a little bit and distress and feel a little bit better? If it's late at night or if it's late in the day, but you can say, "Tomorrow morning, I can help you call your doctor," right? And get an appointment. So little things, small things. So make sure that you're breathing yourself too. You're not feeling overwhelmed also. Although this is a very hard conversation to have, right? And if you don't know how to have this conversation, that's fine. Just tell them, "Let's look for help together," right? Just encourage them. And then you're thinking, "Oh my gosh, what if I say something wrong?" And that's why I love this gift from thisistheawkward.org, because what it says is that don't give up, right? If you say something wrong, you say it and you're like, "Oh, that was not right. It didn't come up the way I meant to." It sounds so judgmental now. So you can say, "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. that way. That's not what I wanted to. I care about you. And of course, this is serious. So, I just need to say that again. You know, have a genuine conversation like you would have with your friend, right? What if the person, that's another question sometimes people have, if they don't want help? And that's another great gift from This Is the Awkward Again, that just tells us that research shows that if you keep showing support to that person, keep showering them with love, right? Checking in with them from time to time, even if they said that they don't want help, but that is also helpful, right? That's also help them. So remember the health, it's body, mind, and spirit, right? So we have to take care of all these parts together. It cannot be just something for your body. Of course, each individual thing is going to have a little effect, but if we really want to help the well-being of somebody, it needs to be in all these areas, right? And Dr. Scully is going to talk to us a little bit more about that. So this is a lot of information in a very short amount of time, but what we want really to do that with this short presentation is to encourage you to get help if you need, but also for you to give help if you come to know somebody who needs help, right? So help can come in different ways depending on the situation. It might be more urgent sometimes, it might be less urgent, but important resources are here, and there are many organizations that provide so many more resources for you to have the conversation, for you to learn how to talk about suicide with someone. But the National Suicide Prevention Line, 1-800-273-TALK, or 1-800-273-8255. And there is a special line for our veterans there. Or if people don't like to talk, but they will be okay with texting, you can always text TALK to this number, 741-741. But if you need a mental health provider, there are some websites that can help you do that. And remember that our well-being, right? If you can contact a primary care provider, or if you need a mental health professional, all of those are sources of help. So um, we're going towards the end of this conversation now, and I want to bring you this quote from this book and also movie called Astro City or Nosolar, from the Spirit under Lewis. And he brings this quote to really encourage us that, life is worth living, that, suicide is really not the answer, right? That this world is much better with each and every one of us here. So he says that life does not cease and death is a dark game of illusions. That closing the eyes of the body does not decide our destinies. You have to navigate your own drama or comedy, right? That it doesn't matter how hard or how easy life is, it's always worth living. It's always worth staying, trying one more time, carry on, keep going. And I want to close with this quote from Romans, or this verse from Romans 8. I like this one because sometimes we feel so much pain, right? It's so painful how we feel our situation. And sometimes this pain comes from being ashamed. Sometimes this pain comes from being fearful. Sometimes this pain comes from, being guilty of something. And we feel, for whatever reason, that is bringing up that pain, we feel so painful that sometimes we feel like God is not there with us anymore, right? We feel like we lost that connection with the Creator. But hear what the Apostle Paul tells us, right? He says, "For I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height or depth, nor anything else in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus our Lord. So he's saying to us that there's nothing that we can do that can keep us away from God's love, from his presence, from his mercy. So we that is a guarantee, right? That he's always with us. So hopefully with that, you feel more motivated, you feel more hopeful, you feel more empowered to have this conversation about suicide and make an impact in these numbers, right? So remember that life is always worth living, doesn't matter how hard or how easy it is. Life is a precious gift. This incarnation that we have, this birth, it's a gift from God. And we understand that it can be so painful sometimes, but we are here for one another. And this world really is much better with each and every one of us here. So let's all stay here, okay, for as long as God allows us to. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll carry on with our programming.
Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back here. And I want to thank you, my dear friend Anna from Alabama, for this beautiful speech about suicide prevention. It really touched my heart because myself, I had a dear friend that committed suicide, and we all know how painful that is. And having such a wonderful information help us helping other people. So please, please, guys, share your thoughts with us. We are live on our Facebook from Kardec Radio, also on YouTube channel. Don't hesitate to leave any comments or any thoughts that you might have. Our friends are here to help us. And we will continue with our programming today. Following this amazing speech from Anna, we will listen to more songs, my friends, right now, and then we will continue with our second lecture from Dr. Gabriela. Okay? So see you guys in a bit.
Never lose your faith, the bright tears of your eyes. Never sorrow bring you down. Put a caring smile in your beautiful face. This way is much easier to go. Sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Forget about your problems, enjoy living your life. Open up your heart for love to come inside. Jesus by your side, and with him close to you, you'll be glad and never become blue. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Bright sun will shine. Let Jesus' love warm you up. Live happy your life and never think of giving up. Jesus by your side. This way's much easier to go. You'll be glad and never become blue.
Life is worth living. Stop suicide. The next song His love is the only way. And every day I see the world, a world without love, with hunger. People come and go around us, many wars. Tears and those who cry are my brothers. We need to change this world. Time after time, day after day, we need to spread love. The pain does not wait, and love is the only way for our wounds to heal. Saying I love you is a good start, so we can build a new world. And in the end, the love you take will be the love you make. Time after time, day after day, we need to spread love. The pain does not wait, and love is the only way for our ones to heal. Da, 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 da. Love is the only way for our ones to heal.
Hey everyone, so how's everyone enjoying this? I hope you all are enjoying the lectures and the music, the wonderful music. We thank all the musicians that are playing for us to hear today. And now we're going to proceed with our presentations, and we're going to talk here now. Who's going to talk is Dr. Gabriela Scalia. She is from Brazil, from Uberlândia in Minas Gerais. And she's from the Paul of Tarsus Spiritist Center, and she'll be talking about mental health tonight.
Hello, my friends. Hello, dear brothers and sisters. We are very happy to be here with you today. And I just want to emphasize how important is this event for all of us and for all of those who are suffering right now. And so let's be all together here in this very good vibration. I just want to emphasize before we start our conversation that there is a picture in a name of a patient of mine, but of course this name, either the name and either the picture itself, they're fictitious, okay, they're not real, in order to not expose this patient in this story, okay? So please join us right now in this conversation, and we meet in a few minutes again.
Friends, I'm very glad to be here. And when I was thinking about what we're going to talk this afternoon, I remember about John. John was a 32 years old man that came to me for a medical appointment, and he was complaining about not having happiness. And when we investigate, he didn't have actually a mental disorder. He was not sad, but he was not happy as well. Mainly his issue was that he was not satisfied with life. Well, What John didn't have was mental health. And I ask you, all of you, what is mental health? What can we understand from this concept? Well, the World Health Organization asserts that mental health is a state of well-being in which an individual realizes his or her own abilities, can cope with the normal stresses of life, can work productively, and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. It is more than just the absence of mental disorder or disabilities. Well, John, by the time, said that he was not having financial problems or even family or relationship problems, but he was not happy or satisfied. He didn't have mental health, which turns us to think a little bit about situation in the United States. The National Alliance on Mental Illness estimate almost 1 in 5 adults experience mental health problems each year. Okay, in 2017, 11.2 million Americans, or about 4.5 of all adults, had a severe psychological condition. Well, what about even the people who didn't have mental disorders but are not happy as well? In 2020, the World Happiness Report showed us, and if you look a little bit closer right here, right now, you will see that there are some countries, for example, Costa Rica, which is a poor country than United States, for example, that is happier. So if you look at that, you can say that mainly, basically, money doesn't bring happiness. If money can bring you happiness, what does? What are the aspects? What exactly I cultivate, I do in my life that can make me feel happy? And when I say feel happy, I mean the feeling of well-being most of the time of my life, even if I have conflicts and obstacles. Okay? That's what I mean when I say happiness. Well, that's our discussion here right now. How to be happy. And when I ask you that, and I ask myself, of course, how to be happy, we have to look these three factors that determine mental health. Okay? These three factors here is our personal, social, and environment factors. Okay? How can you understand this? If we have to look a little bit deeper to these factors, we will cluster these three factors in three bigger themes or three bigger steps, okay, to improve each one of these factors, right? For example, the first step or the first thing that we have to improve is the development and the maintenance of healthy communities. How can I do that? Well, one big and important step is to practice charity. Spiritism teaches us that practicing charity, we can improve, we as spirits can improve doing good actions to people who are in need. Okay, and when I say people in need, I mean materially and morally speaking. There are people that are wealthy and are suffering in different kinds of conflicts with themselves or even with others. Okay? And And when you use your empathy, you just for listening to this person, you are already helping, already somehow diminishing or getting this suffering lower to this person. Okay, you can even improve the conditions of your life. Sometimes we just complain about our job, about our boss, but we don't do nothing to change it. We stay in a position of victims and waiting for somebody to come and change my life. And I don't take the responsibility to do the changes I need, okay? To improve, for example, the conditions of my working and the relationships in my working environment, which is a very important thing to do. In based on that, I can also offer social support to the person, to the people that need it. When I say social support, I mean basic needs of food, warmth, and shelter. It's very hard to be happy if you are cold, if you are in hunger, or you are e- even living in the streets and you don't have social support, right? And with that, you can minimize chances of conflicts and even violence. When I say violence, all the kinds of violence you may think, violence for people with each other, and also violence with yourself, with suicide thoughts that we are talking here in this webinar. Okay? The second step to improve the factors I mentioned is to improve the skills like participating of your community, tolerating diversity, and of course to share mutual responsibility. Okay, and for doing that, we have to cultivate positive relationships. When I say that, I'm not saying that you have to have met a lot of friends or um, virtual friends, followers on Facebook, Instagram, or any kind of social media that you have. But I mean real friends, friends that you can count on, effective relationships. If you have good communication, for example, in your family, are you able in your home to talk about emotions, for example, to talk about fear, to talk about what you're feeling when you're sad, when you're anxious? Can you feel comfortable about talking about this with each other? You have intimacy to talk about it. And that's what we meant about of having a good relationship in your family. Okay? And doing that, you can also practice more acceptance of these bad feelings that we will have. It's impossible to live a life, mainly in the world we are living right now, and not having bad feelings such as anxiety, sadness, anguish, and all these things that are not comfortable for us. But sometimes we need to feel that, because it's when we feel this uncomfortable feelings that sometimes we urge to change our lives sometimes. Okay, and the third step, or the third thing about the factors I mentioned, is to improve the ability to deal with thoughts and feelings, the things I've just said right now, in the management of life and emotional resilience, the ability to cope, to have a good coping with the obstacles in your life, the conflicts that you have. And to improve that, we must do things to get better in our physical health, for example. Physical exercise are examples for that, but it's not physical any kind, right? You have to do 1 hour at least 3 times a week. Okay, there is a book that I really like that is Happy Brain Happy Life, and it shows us a lot of studies that aerobic physical exercise help us to improve the feeling of well-being and joy in our lives. Okay, good nutrition as well, and to take care of your sleep routine. Currently, a lot of people goes to bed with the cell phone on or any kind of device, and it makes your brain alert, and it doesn't it makes easier for you to relax and to have a good night sleep. Okay, doing all that, you can improve your self-esteem to enjoy more of you and your body, to feel better with yourself, right? And this can can also help you to improve the ability to manage conflicts with yourself and with others, can improve your memory and also the ability to learn new things, to read good books, and to have enlightenment readings, like to have spiritist books and read all the teachings that they bring to us. And at least a very good practice we can do is meditation. Once Dalai Lama, in a conference with neuroscientists, he said that he confessed that he thinks meditation is hard. Well, if Dalai Lama said that, we can relax and know that it's a hard thing to do, but it's a very good that we give our best to try to do this, because we know that when we improve and enhance even our body cells, that um, in, improves our immunological system, and of course our health, generally speaking. Okay, well, doing these whole things, I know that we are not able to change our lives tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but we have to have this in mind to improve our life here, right now, in the present, and not programming to reach happiness in the future. When I get married, I will be happy. When I get a better home, a better house, a better car, I'll be happy. A better job. No, I'll be happy right now with the things I have, and of course, doing most of the things I'm saying here to improve my mental health, my spiritual health, my biological health. Okay, and and one book that is very good for us, and that brings up very nice teachings and reminds of us of the importance of all this that we're talking about, is the book Our Daily Bread, and of the Spirit Emmanuel. He reminds us that, confident in God, let us expand our hopes and dreams, completely assured that, just as the old proverbs assert, an optimistic heart is the medical prescription for peace and happiness. So, my friends and brothers and sisters, let's all together do our best to be happy today, in the present, in this life, and to improve our mental and spiritual health in this whole journey of this reincarnation. Thank you for your attention and your patience, and have a good afternoon, a good day, and a good life, all of you. And God bless you all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Gabriela, for such an amazing lecture with so many important information also for us to help others in this matter. And I just want to take a little moment to say thank you to all our friends from Portugal, New Zealand, also Angola, our friend from Brazil, from all across the United States, everybody that's watching us on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you so much for being here, for the gathering, for the energy. And we will start it now with some Q&A. We will answer some questions. So I'm going to invite Dr. Gabriela and our friend Anna. So they will both join us to answer, talk a little bit with you guys about what we just spoke. Okay? So stay tuned. Hello, ladies.
Hello,
Hello.
Welcome,
we are
welcome.
back.
So we do have a few questions that we wanna one of that first question is, how does the spiritual treatment can help with suicidal thoughts?
You want to take that, Gabriela?
No problem.
we, oh, there you go. Yeah.
We can you hear me? Can you all
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Nice. So we know that when we are talking about suicide thoughts or even suicide plans, the treatment is much more complex than only uh, a medical treatment, a psychological treatment. We have to do the whole. We have to use every single resource we have to face this problem. And I thank you, Anna, for the lecture you gave us, because it was a very good one to enlighten our minds and our thoughts that you can prevent suicide. Okay. And of course, we are talking here about spirits who are incarnated and suffering from some sort of some sort of pain. Then somehow the thought of suicide comes with the false idea to from this pain if I kill myself. And we know that life goes on, and the acknowledgement of that life is worth living, and also that goes on besides the material life, there is a spiritual life as well. It's very important, this acknowledgement, to give us more tools to face these suicide thoughts and desires, right? And gathering that, I'm sorry, you want to say something?
No, do you want to finish? I was just going to add that, the Spirit Center has a lot of resources. Like, I enjoyed very much what you said too about mental health. And you talked about, the practice of charity, right? So being a Spirit Center, you're going to have the opportunity, in a group. So you have your social support, and you also are, being able to participate in a charity event that it's going to make you feel good, right? Because doing the good feels good, right? So it helps us,
Exactly.
both.
There are several studies, Anna, showing that volunteer work enhances the feeling of well-being and joy in our lives. And that's a very good thing to know, because science also proves that charity, volunteer work, or the donation you give of your time and your effort also brings you back a lot of good things. But one important point that I want to emphasize here as well is that we need treatment, spiritual treatment, also because we know that there are some spirits that somehow, when we are fragile, when we are sick, they influence,
Mhm.
they influence with obsession and bad thoughts, and somehow uh, if you're already thinking about that, you get worse. And maybe if you're even not thinking about that, you start thinking about that also with this kind of influence. that's a good thing, because in the Spiritist Center, you will treat yourself and the spirits who are with you.
Right.
So that's a very nice point too.
Yes, and talking about the spirits, spiritual treatment also, it's it's not just the magnetic treatment, right? It's just not the passes. It's not just the fluidified water or the dissolved session work, but it's also listening to the gospel, right? Watching the talks too. So it help us to change ourselves, right? To reprogram those thoughts, right? To be more hopeful, right? And we say that the spiritist is the consoler, right? So we are bringing hope to people, and as we hear more about the gospel, that is good news, so it should help us be happy. Then that is also part of the spiritual treatment, right? And that help us to slowly and surely be in more strong, like you said, improving our resilience, right? Building some barriers so we are not so um, vulnerable to other attacks,
Exactly.
to other problems, because we all have problems, and even if we face something really difficult now, we cannot promise that tomorrow, next week, in 5 years from now, we are never going to have any more problems, right? So especially in the world that we live, is almost like we have, like you said, we have to start to be happy now, be stronger now, resilient now, and really enjoy this opportunity we have here on earth.
We can't postpone what what you need to do right now, right? I'm gonna do this in the next life. Yeah,
Hmm.
you don't know how this is gonna, when this is gonna happen. And what you've just said, I think, answers a little bit of this question below here. How does practice of charity can improve depression and suicide thoughts?
Hmm.
That's about reprogramming your habits, your thoughts, and your behavior. And of course, there are some cases that we need medication, psychological treatment, and everything you can get,
Hmm.
right?
And
To
I know you're a psychiatrist, so I'm just going to put a plug right here. Sometimes people have so much prejudice with mental health, right? If somebody has diabetes, no one is going to tell them, don't take your insulin. Just, be a little stronger and you're going to get over it, right? But if somebody has anxiety, depression, we just expect them to just get better without having all these resources, right? There are so many resources. Medicine is so advanced now, in mental health and everything. All these people are so compassionate and they are there to help. And then we are just going through the situation and making it harder than it needs to be because we are not getting the help that, we could have. And it's all about prejudice. So hopefully, talk
exactly.
that that is going to help everybody. Like last month, it was May, so it's supposed to be the mental health month for the US. So we saw a lot of conversations about, start the conversation, be the voice, and because we need to talk more about that, because like you said, mental health is also part of our health, right?
Exactly. There's a very important point that I want to bring again here, that medications are very important. Sometimes they are essential for the treatment to at least to start. Sometimes the person doesn't have energy or will to go to the spiritist center and start a spiritual treatment, because you need somehow a gasoline. You need to start all the energy which is in that moment maybe is gone. And sometimes, yes, medications are essential. People are really afraid to be dependent, like a chemistry dependence
Yeah.
of the medicines.
Hmm.
But most of them, they don't cause dependence, and we have to be really aware of that. and mainly most of these thoughts are based on prejudice, as you just said. And that you have to ask your doctor, you have to have a nice chat and take out all the doubts of your head, and then take a decision in your treatment, right?
Right. They're all
Some
options, right?
Yes, sometimes medications are essential, but I want to say that sometimes medications are not enough. That's what I want to say here. Okay? So that's why you have to do everything you have on your environment, on your personal tools, and also social tools to get better from this mental disorder, which is a biological disorder. You have genetics, you have lots of transformations, I can say that, in your body that brings this disease for you. That's why the medicine is also needed.
Well,
Instead of
thank you so much for all this information. We have one more question. We have time to answer one more question. And after you guys finish, then we're going to ask Miss Ana Oliveira to do a final prayer for us. Okay?
are we answering this one on the screen?
Yes, please.
All right. So, can we do everything online? Can we, why is it important to be physically in the spirit center? Can we just do self-improvement just by accessing online lectures? I think that really the self-improvement, it's theory and practice, right? So if I read a lot just at home, but I need an outlet to practice that, right? If I'm reading about being forgiving and patient, but if nobody's testing that, right, I'm isolated in my nice environment. So how do I know that I'm really improving, or how much have I improved, right? So being, in a charity or being involved with other people, I mean, I think Christianity is really learned in groups, right? We have to be with other people. The Christians, they need to be in the world. We need to be, with other people, and being together and working. And there is power too to being together in the same place, everybody vibrating the same, thoughts, and the feelings, that can be really powerful too.
The most of studies that we have currently in the medical literature, it tells us that the main point to that impact your happiness is the relationships you have. So basically, of course, you can do everything online, but and mainly now that we are living these pandemics all over the world, we know that it's an exception what we are having right now. But still, when we come back to normal life, or when we improve this moment we're living, we need to pay attention to the importance of being together and to support each other, and to enhance the relationships we have. That's a very good thing, and to improve. And I want to remember that in this pandemic times that we are more isolated, we are having more anxious, more depressed mood, which is we have to pay attention, right? And to be more aware and vibrate more, and engage more in this kind of studies, for example. But still, the presence is essential in our lives.
Right. Even though we're getting more and more technology savvy, we're still social beings, right? So we need our social interactions and our connections. So I just want to thank everybody that is here, all the spirit centers who helped us putting this together, to Kardec Radio that keeps nurturing our, souls, and, gave us these outlets too, so that we can reach more friends. So I just want to thank everybody, the people in the background, all the mentors of these programs. We know a lot is done in the spiritual world too. And invite everybody to our final prayer. And then after that, we'll have one more song. So, we can, finish up to feeling good. If you have any questions, I think we're going to put at the end the contact of a lot of our groups that are involved here. You all have the contact from Kardec Radio. So, even if you didn't put a comment or a question, but if you want to reach out, we are here for you. Okay? So, in this moment, let's just all close our eyes, thanking God for life, for our lives, for all life forms around us, being grateful for this beautiful opportunity that is this reincarnation. At this moment, with our hearts full of gratitude, we thank God because He's good, just, and merciful, because He never, never forsake us. He's always there, just a connection away. God, thank you so much for this opportunity that we have. Help us and help every single brother and sister that is in pain right now. May they be consoled. May your emissaries of love reach their hearts, their houses, their places of employment, wherever they might be, and put consolation there. Jesus, thank you so much for your work, for this whole humanity. We know you love us, and we are always there for us. The good pastor that is always guiding us and guarding us. With our hearts full of gratitude to all, to everything, we ask God to help us continue being strong no matter what the chaos that is outside. May we be able to learn how to construct peace inside of us and keep that peace. And may even we be able to share that peace with our brothers and sisters around us. Thank you so much. And glory to God in the highest, and on earth, peace to every single man and woman of goodwill. So be it.
Life is worth living. Stop suicide. The next song is Charity's Love in Action. changing the world. You know you are not alone. If we go together, it'll be easier to move. It's like climbing the highest hill to touch the stars and feel Jesus Christ in your heart. Charity is love in action. Charity is light in the soul, light in everything around us. It's not just the beginning. Charity is the way. And then, while the new world doesn't come, we have to change what is holding us. Together we can believe. To get to the desired promised land. Give your hand and embrace the world. It's up to us, so let's go. Because charity is love in action. Charity is light in the soul, light in everything around us. It's not just the beginning. Charity is the way. Charity is love in action. Charity is light in the soul, light in everything around us. It's not just the beginning. Charity is the way.
Bye bye. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you. Bye.